We've successfully moved our product information to a MySQL database. All the pages are now working as they did before. However, we have places where our queries are not as efficient as they could be. We have a number of functions that start with SQL code to get all the products from the database. They then use PHP to narrow down the products to a smaller list. Instead, we should modify these functions to retrieve only the products we need in the first place. As we do this, we'll look at a number of different ways to use limits, ordering, and aggregate functions in our queries. We have 4 PHP functions we need to modify in total. Let's take a look at the first one, getProductsRecent. Open products.php in your text editor. This first function here is getProductsRecent. Looking back at my documentation, you can see that this function needs to return the 4 most recent products. Recency was determined by the order in the products array. Remember, that was driven by SKU. The higher the SKU, the more recent the product. Right now, this function calls getProductsAll. It figures out how many products there are total. It will go through them one at a time, and it starts the counting position here at 0. It then loops through all the products in a for each loop. Inside the for each loop, it increases the count position by 1. It then uses this conditional to determine if a shirt is one of the 4 most recent shirts. If it is, it adds this shirt to the recent array. The function then returns the recent array, which should have in it the last 4 shirts. Let's refactor this function so instead it uses its own query to retrieve only the last 4 products from the database. We'll start by including the database file. Then we'll add our familiar try-catch block. We'll again want to load all the results from our query into a PDO statement object. Our DB object was created in the database include file, so we can call methods on it here. We want to execute a query. As you'll see, we don't have any user input, so there's no need to use the prepare method here. We want to select the same product information that we've selected in other queries. The difference here is that we only want the 4 products with the highest SKUs. To achieve that, we'll need to first use an order by clause on SKU as we've done before. By default though, order by orders numbers in ascending order, from lowest to highest. In this case, we'll want to order them in descending order, from highest to lowest. After the column name in the order by clause, we can add a modifier to change that to descending order. This query returns all of the products in descending order. We can limit this to only 4 by adding a limit clause to the query. If we specify only one number in the limit clause, that number will represent the row count. This will limit the result set to only 4 rows. This code will retrieve the first 4 records using whatever order is specified. This will be the 4 shirts with the highest SKUs. For more details about order by and limit, I recommend you check out the Reading Data from Databases in SQL badge in the Database Foundations course. We called the query method here, so we should already have all 4 shirts in the results object. We can extract them into an array with the fetchAll method. This should give us the 4 most recent shirts in an array named recent. But there's one more thing to consider before we call this function complete.